Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lauren Jackson, and this is my assignment 3 for EDN 462. A quick introduction to my focus child. His name is Josh, which is a pseudonym for privacy reasons. He's 4 years old and he currently attends kindergarten at a school south of the river. The mathematical focus I'll be dealing with today is sorting and classifying. Rationale. From the previous diagnostic tasks, I was able to identify a learning area which will benefit Josh in his mathematical understanding. From this, I have developed 3 play-based provocations which will help Josh differentiate things dependent on their attributes, which also align with his interests to help engagement and learning from prior knowledge. I have implemented objects used in his house and conducted these sorting and classifying activities in Josh's home where he feels safe and secure. This links to the following learning outcomes in the early years learning framework, the kindergarten curriculum guidelines, and First Steps mathematics books. The 3 play-based provocations I have developed are a Lego activity, a pom-pom activity, and a rock activity. This provocation was designed to link Josh's interest in building and construction within an intentional teaching and play-based environment. This activity required Josh to sort and classify Lego dependent on both number and size. 3 numbers were provided to Josh, including odd and even, and he was required to match the blocks with the number provided. I scaffolded this activity by demonstrating it first to ensure he understood the task at hand, and then asked him continue it on with the next 3 numbers. Learning experience 1, Lego. Focus questions that were asked. What number is this? Can you describe the object for me? Can you show me what this number looks like with the small items in front of you? Can you count the objects when stacking them into a pile? Can you put different sized objects into piles? How can we tell that they are different? Conversation. Educator. How do we know that there are 4 blocks on this pile? Child, because I counted them. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. Educator. So how many are there then? Child, there are 4. He did this without counting them again. He just looked at the pile, which showed he trusted the count and also cardinality. So he knew that the last number he counted was the collection. Interesting things that the child said. Look, I made a pattern. Blue, orange, which was unintentional but still linked to a math focus. Reflection. On completion of this activity, it is evident that Josh is able to group objects dependent on their attributes. Josh showed his ability to count in one-on-one correspondence, trusting the count and cardinality. Changes to this activity. Josh thoroughly enjoyed this activity and wanted to continue on with it. Adaptations I would make in the future is incorporating different shapes, so 2D shapes and 3D objects, and also collecting more Lego to have extra resources so we could extend the activity into the team numbers. If we were linking shapes into this activity, it would be heavily focused on describing their attributes in more depth. Pom-poms, activity 2. This provocation was designed to meet Josh's sensory needs. It was identified in assignment 2 that Josh was really engaged in all things that met his sensory needs, including smell, touch, feel, sound, etc. The pom-poms that were used were, different aromas were used on the pom-poms provided, and these were used with essential oils. This activity required Josh to sort and classify pom-poms dependent on their colour and smell. Tubes of matching colours were given to place the pom-poms in. Learning experience 2. Can you describe these items for me? What shape are these items? Can you see anything similar in the pom-poms and the tubes? Important conversation. Can you put the pom-poms into their matching tubes? Child. So yellow goes in yellow? Educator. Exactly. How many do you think can fit in there? The child. All of them. So he looked at the ones he had already inserted and said 3, and then he counted 1, 2, 3, 4 of the objects left on the table. So he knew it was 3 plus 4, although he didn't add these numbers together. What the child said. An important thing he noticed was he picked up one that smelt like mint and related it to Christmas. And he also enjoyed how squishy they were in his hands. Pom-pom reflection. On completion of this activity, it is evident that Josh is able to group objects depending on their attributes. Josh showed his ability to look at the 3 items already in the tube and just know that they were 3. He then proceeded to count to 4, although did not add these numbers together. Although Josh knew he could fit all the pom-poms in the container, he did not attempt to add the 2 collections together. To develop his knowledge on grouping further, I would like to conduct activities that involve the adding and subtraction of different collections. Provocation 3, rocks. This provocation was designed to align Josh's interest of natural materials to grouping, whilst also incorporating other mathematical concepts such as measurement and geometry when I was referring to heavier and lighter rocks. This activity required Josh to sort and classify rocks into 3 piles that consisted of light, medium and heavy. We also discussed the attributes of the rocks with words such as smooth, rough, bumpy, sharp and big. So focus questions. Can you describe these items for me? What are the differences in these items? Are the rocks similar or the same? So an interesting aspect that the child said, so he mentioned that he had these rocks at his daycare, so he was already linking in prior knowledge from that. Conversation. Can you find all the items that are lightest compared to the other rocks and place them in this column? Child. So he picked up 2 rocks and placed 1 in each hand, comparing the weight. This one is heavy and this one is light, he said. Educator, how do you know that? Child, because this one makes my hand go down more. Educator, so put the one that is not heavy into the column that says light. Rock reflection. On completion of this activity, Josh has been able to identify rocks dependent on their weight. He uses his touch instead of sight to classify these items within this activity. Changes to this activity. In the future, I would change this activity to make it more play-based. I was thinking I could develop a seawater theme with animals, rocks, and other sensory items such as gelatine for the water. I could have sand in there and also add essential oils to bring in that smell as well to engage the child more. Where to next? Josh was engaged with the task at hand and demonstrated his ability to sort and classify objects, trust the count, one-on-one correspondence and measurement of mass as well as other mathematical concepts. For the future, I would like to extend this further by counting into the teams and also describing, ordering and making patterns dependent on attributes of both 2D and 3D objects, linking to the below outcomes. Thank you for listening to my speech and presentation. My references will be in my rubric. Thank you.